What's up, race fans? We're here in North Hartford, Connecticut, home to Michael Sullivan's shop, where we have a new driver taking over the 22 car, familiar name, in a new place in the SK Modifieds, and that's Teddy Hodgdon, who will be driving the 22 car owned by Dan Avery for the 2022 season. And before we talk about the anticipation going into the year, how did this get started? How did you get connected with the 22 team?
Well, me and Dan have always had a good relationship. We've been talking back and forth over the last 2 years, ever since we moved up to the SKs, and we just he's seen my on-track performances, and we've had a good relationship since then. So once we knew the seat was vacant, we decided to further those talks and have a stronger chance to get in the ride here. And we had a couple meetings with him and his sponsors, and we finally made the deal happen. So I'm really happy to get into this camp. They're a great bunch of guys, and hoping to bring them back to victory lane this year.
Yeah, you're working with Michael Sullivan, who has been a crew chief for a long time with a ton of success. This car won in 2021 and in 2020. What's the excitement like going into 22 with this new perspective of driving for a different team?
Yeah, it's definitely new. I've always run with my family car, so going to driving for somebody else with the prestige of this whole team is pretty unreal. Really excited to get working with these guys, and hopefully we get on the right foot first. It's going to be a little different for me working with somebody else that's not just my family and having the car in my garage all the time, So, just trying to get the charisma and the chemistry right is going to be big. But I think once we get the first couple races clicked off, we'll be really hitting our stride.
What do you think the expectations or goals are for you going to a different team and trying to get acclimated with a new team?
Yeah, just learning everybody's personalities and what they like, and trying to figure out my driving style with the other teammates, because they haven't really been one-on-one with me, obviously. So having those two relationships is going to be key, and just start clicking off races and hopefully bringing this to victory lane. That's definitely one of my top goals, is getting that first win in the SKs, and to be with these guys would be unbelievable.
Now, you came close to a win at the end of this year, at the end of 2021. Didn't work out the way you wanted, but with the year that you had, the couple years you had in the SKs, where it was a mix of good runs and really bad luck, what have you been able to take away from those 2 seasons to help you heading into your junior year in the SKs?
Definitely our determination. Our team would come back every week, no matter what the hardship and what we faced. We always showed up to the track the next week, tried to get that first victory. It didn't pan out like we wanted, but we had some chances to get there. And sometimes, our handling would be off, or we get in a wreck or some mechanical failure. But, we would always be there, show our faces up at the end of the day, and we tried to be there at the end, and we almost had it.
Now, doesn't mean you're leaving the family team quite necessarily, because you're going to go open modified racing in 22 with that 55 car. What made you decide to go open modified racing?
Well, I always wanted to get a chance at the open motor horsepower. 200 more than these bad boys. So yeah. It's a big step, definitely. But we wanted kind of to get off the weekly grind of the SKs, because it is brutal. We've experienced that this year for sure. And so me and my crew talked about it for a long time, and then when we had the opportunity to run with this crew, it was like, all right, we should go ahead and make this step. And yeah, so I gotta thank all those guys that, especially Pete Matt and Chris Garcia, Monterey Fuel.
Yep.
Those guys have helped a ton over the past 2 and 3 years with coming on board on the SK and now the Open Modified. So just appreciative of what they've all done in the shop and off the racetrack, just making my step up to the Opens.
And your first open race is going to be the 50th Spring Sizzler?
That'll be correct.
What is it like having your first open race being such a prestigious event, the golden age running of the greatest race in the history of spring?
Yeah, it's a childhood dream of mine, really. I remember going to the racetrack at 5-6 years old, even before the Wild Thing carts, and watching Teddy and Keith and all those guys run those races. So it's definitely would be awesome to qualify. That's the first goal, obviously, because there's going to be a ton of cars there. So just trying to make it through the stacked field is going to be the first step, and then running the best I can, because it's going to be a challenge. There's a lot of fast guys there, so just trying to get my feet wet in those is going to be a big step.
How do you prepare for the open mod in terms of getting seat time? Are you going to do a track rental, or are you just going to see what happens come April?
No, definitely. We're definitely going to run definitely do some test sessions before then. I can't go in there blind basically with all those guys. So definitely going to try and get some track time before we do that. But plans are still up in the air. So.
Well, we're very excited to see what 22 brings for you, Teddy. It's going to be quite the year, I imagine, with you and the 22 team in the SK and the 55 in the Open Modifieds. I mean, April can't come soon enough, can it?
No, it can't. Hopefully it's going to be a really, really good year for both of the organizations. Definitely a dream come true on both ends to run for somebody else and then jump in the Open Modifieds. So, I just can't thank Dan, the Poulins, Michael Sullivan, Mike Pettick especially. He was a big part of bringing me with these group of guys, so I can't thank him enough. And then Pete, Chris, and Montanari on the 55 side. So just really excited for what this has in store for us next year. Oh, I can't forget Business Time Motorsports. Big part of all my family in Florida there. They've really come on the last 2 years, so I'm just hopefully meet all of my expectations and more this year. It's going to be a lot on our plate transitioning through both of these cars, but I'm up for the challenge, and I think we're going to do really good.
It's not even 2022, and he's already got the sponsorship shout-outs done. I mean, he's prepared for it, and we're excited to see what comes next for Teddy Hodgdon, driving the 22 for Dan Avery in the SK Modifieds and racing Open Modifieds in his own 55 family team. We'll see what's in store for Teddy Hodgdon and the team coming next year.